Hello and welcome back to the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. My name's Sierra Steinmetz.
Brian Schubie.
Carrie Steele.
Bill Jones.
And we're the Jones Home Team.
And this is episode 67, and I'm proud of us. We remembered how to do that. We've been gone for so long. We're back. We're through the holidays. I haven't left the house in weeks. Everybody's been sick and dying. So Schubie's had a baby. Congratulations.
Yay.
So
I love the little applaud button.
yes, we need some more sound effects and things like that. But it is January. We're going to try to launch this today, January 5th, 2026.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, lots to talk about with the market, kind of what's going forward. That's kind of the topic of the day today for all of us, is just talking about what the real estate market looks like, predictions on rates, number of homes being sold, possibly pricing, things along that line. So who wants to kick us off?
I can go.
Okay.
Real estate changes in 26. Mortgage rates are expected to drop slightly. They're not going to do that dramatic thing that we were thinking.
Yeah, we're already supposed to be in the fives, right? That's what everybody's predicting.
Yeah. But with that, I think buyers are they want to get back in the game. They're tired of waiting. It's been years for some of them, probably 4 or 5 years. And so I think they just are finally coming with the terms that we've known for a while, and that is that there's not going to be a unicorn rate, and not any time in the future here.
To kind of add to that, I was going to say, I want to say it was like the day, maybe the 30th, December 30th or something. I saw a post that rates hit 6.15%.
Yeah.
But they're already back up,
which
though,
was
which
was the lowest level in 2025. So.
Yeah, the very last day of the year. Why? Well, they were waiting and they said, "Oh, it's going to be the third quarter. No, it's going to be the fourth quarter. Oh, just kidding. It's the last week of the year."
Somebody was just trying to hit some. Yeah, somebody was just trying to hit some prediction number, so they somehow crammed it down to that in short order. So. So that was the day, the lowest of the year.
I'm pretty
was
sure
that
it was
one
the
day?
30th.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. And try to get a long close that day. You know what I mean?
Kidding.
Nobody was around. So.
Gosh, well, I was closing too right about that time, and it was a mess. I mean,
Yeah.
I was working Christmas Eve and New Year's
I think
Day.
we were the only people working the last couple of weeks of the year. So.
Yeah. Which was pretty quiet. I don't know about you guys, but closings, the only reason I had those closings was because they were pushed back so far, but there were no closings really happening.
I've been kind of jacked. I don't know why.
I have several, but it seems like they've been getting pushed back. Yeah.
Which, and I don't know if that's just because of the holidays and everybody's just a little more sluggish and they're starting to slow down. And I think people in general are just starting to appreciate winter and what it's meant to be. It's a reset. It's
which it hasn't been that for
rest.
Years. It's been just go throughout the winter.
I bought that car thinking we're going to be crazy busy all winter long, and then it's. I mean, I guess my phone has picked up. Yes, my phone has picked up, and I did work through the holidays. For real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crickets last year for our market anyways, it seems. So. All right. Sorry. Anyway, sideline
No,
there.
You're fine. William Raveis, he is a successful broker in Connecticut and New Hampshire, and this was in Forbes in late December. He said, "I believe the rates may come down, but modestly. I believe the bigger shift in 2026, and I bolded this, buyers' acceptance of the current mortgage rates. Buyers are adjusting to a world where 5 to 6% feels normal." And I agree with him. I think buyers, again, they're in living situations where they just can't make it work anymore. They're living with their parents, they're living with extra roommates, they're having children, and they're like, my God, we can't wait for these 2-3%. We have to move, and we will probably just have to understand that we're going to get less house.
I was going to say, I feel like, too, at this point, we've been hearing that rates were going to come down since last year, and
a full year.
They've come down a little bit, but not a lot. So I think a lot of buyers are finding kind of like what you're saying. They're like, hey, we've been being told that rates are going to come down for so long, but here we are a full year later, and they barely move.
Can you imagine waiting though? Like now that you have your new baby, can you imagine being crammed in a small apartment or waiting, or even maybe having another kid in that time frame, and okay, at what point do we say enough's enough? Let's just
and seeing no movement hardly at all.
Yep. Yeah, just exhausted from waiting at that point.
I think it helps too with them accepting the current mortgage rates. I feel like prices have stabilized a little bit.
I agree.
Not that they're not continuing to increase, but they're definitely not having the jump that they did. Or we're seeing a lot
not
more
jumping 10% every 6 months or something.
And it's helpful for us too. I mean, heck, we don't want to it's not my house I'm selling, but you don't want to overprice a house and be stuck with it for a year and a half, and then the buyers come through and they're like, it's overpriced, and 26 buyers say the same thing, but the seller's not willing to move because they're still stuck in that mentality of
their pricing is still 2 years ago.
2020 prices, and it's just not.
Or your buyers having to nickel and dime everything just so that they can get a house because everything's so overpriced.
Well, and in the same breath, if buyers are willing to accept the current mortgage rates, I think more sellers are starting to realize that they can't list their house for what they would have or maybe could have gotten in 2022.
They still seem to be holding pretty steady. Though. I mean, I don't seem like, I think that's what part of mine was talking about, it more of a leveling off. Yeah.
Leveling off, yes, but not that extremely high, over the multiple offers coming in.
But where's the huge drop? Where's the bottom falling out that
There's
everybody's
none.
predicting? Well, not everybody, but all these, people looking to buy investments. Or whatever. I'm just waiting for the bottom to fall out.
Right.
So, yeah, I haven't seen that.
I don't remember where I read it, but I think it said like there's going to be a lot of, HUD and foreclosure type properties in California because of wildfires, and 49% of those are being bought up by investors like right off the bat.
Right.
So that's more than 50% of the houses that are flying off the shelf almost as they are listed.
Right.
So again, we talked about this over and over, and we don't have a crystal ball, and we don't know what's going to happen with the economy and everything else. But like the amount of people that are waiting to get a decent priced, investment properties.
Yes, yep.
There's so many investors for every house that's for sale. There's so many investors, and I've continued to show properties to investors. They're like, well, and they say, oh, I'm going to give them 80 on a $150,000 or $200,000 house.
Right.
I'm like, buddy, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, somebody else will gladly give them that for that. Yeah, all the people that have been waiting. So, yeah, and all the HUD stuff have been, just right before we went on, talking about that attorney asking about the HUD properties and things like that. It's hard to, most people haven't had the opportunity to buy those. There just haven't been the foreclosure properties that there were from 2008 to 12 that, a lot of agents don't have a lot of familiarity with those, and they're just not there. They're not there yet. They're coming up. But. And
not only that, but, we had talked about this before, that banks are putting money into those properties so that they're not just crap dilapidated properties. But that's going to continue to keep those prices higher.
Yep.
When you talk about, there's this house that sold for $36,000, it was a total turd. Now that's bringing the 150 house down because you've got that dilapidated property. If the bank's bringing that up to a 120, 130, 140, that's going to help that other house their prices stay up. And I'm chatting Kathy today, but another thing I was reading too is that
we've been gone for a couple of weeks. We got a lot to get out here. So
okay, I'll skip that. We'll do that another time. But another thing that I'm seeing, not just locally but in other states, is people are moving down. So they're taking these massive cuts in their mortgages and also their size. It's not necessarily a downsizing thing for like seniors, but more so anybody that's stuck in the massive house and they want to downsize their lives or downsize their mortgage. And so we're seeing that quite a bit. I don't know if it's because of the pricing or people are just realizing what's more important. But that's still good news for us. That whether you're moving down, moving up, or moving laterally, real estate's still it's moving. So
transaction is still happening.
Yeah.
So, that's a good observation, because I've got 2 closing tomorrow back to back. Same thing, that people are just looking to downsize almost then. I think almost to capitalize on their home appreciation, the pricings yet. So looking to downsize, but also minimize their payments.
That's a good point.
So,
capitalizing on their
equity that they have in the house. Yep.
I think a lot of people too start to notice you can get pre-approved for X amount, but then if that's a really large home or a really large property, there's a lot of maintenance and upkeep that comes with that. And then taxes change, all those things kind of go into it. And I think that hits a really quick reality check for some people after a little while, because then you get to a point where you're one life change or one accident or something like that away from not being able to manage what you owe every month on
or just
all
take
of your
care of it or
different
keep up
things.
on it
or just lifestyle change, people wanting to incorporate coffee every single day or wanting to take more trips instead of that 1 or 2 vacations a year. They want to travel quarterly. And that house payment could make or break your ability to do that. So
that's in taxes. Like our taxes all got reassessed, so that's probably a big wake up call for a lot of people that do have that big house, and then suddenly their taxes doubled or whatever. Well, screw this. We're gonna downsize into something a little more affordable. So I just noticed then too. I kind of afraid of this. William Raveis. That's the guy that's the broker. The people. Byron Lazine and Nicole White I always listen to that BAM thing. That's their broker. So but he's a big. I guess they're. I don't know Raveis real estate, but they're huge in that area. I guess so.
I think they do Connecticut and all of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
That's a big market up there.
So
different than here, but the idea is still the same.
All right, Bill Raveis, we're going to hold you to that here. So we'll see what happens. So.
Well, just to kind of, I guess, roll into kind of a lot of the stuff that Carrie went over, just a couple more things to add. So NAR released their final report of 2025 then as well, and they also showed that. So pending home sales ended 2025 on a high note. So up 3.3% month over month in November, which was the best performance of the year after seasonality adjustments. And then that was up 2.6% year over year, showing growing buyer activity compared to November of 2024. So buyer activity pending buyer activity from November 2024 to November 2025 was up 2.6%. Momentum was broad across the U.S. The West saw the biggest monthly gain at 9.2%. The South 2.4% month over month, and then 3.3% year over year. And then the Northeast and Midwest also posted positive monthly and annual gains, which just shows kind of like what you were saying, Carrie, though, that buyer momentum or that buyer activity is definitely picking up as well.
We can all be glad of that.
Yeah. Realtor sentiment. So realtors are also kind of like what we're sitting here doing. We're talking about, what are we thinking going to happen? NAR did kind of a little
They took a
survey.
realtor survey,
Yeah,
did
realtor
they? Okay,
survey.
all right. Oh, man, I
and
wouldn't
then
hear this.
up from 17% in October, 22% of NAR members expected increased buyer traffic in the next 3 months. So not a huge
Run that
jump
one more
up.
time. What was it?
17% in October. So they did it in October and then 3 months later, and it was up from 17% to 22% is what
Okay.
realtors
I
are
believe that.
thinking.
Yeah.
Expectation, realtors also, so expectation for seller activity also ticked up. Not as much, but 16%, which is now 18%. So
Okay.
Because they're going to have houses they can move into finally. Because
Yep.
sellers are finally
Right.
going to have something else on the market to pick from, I think.
and then mortgage rates, kind of, Carrie, you talked on that, and I threw that little note in about the rates hitting the lowest that they were at the end of towards the end of the year there, which kind of like what Bill said, I think they have ticked back up just a tad. So
Yeah, let's see if I can pull it up without the screen going crazy. I'm going to hit the wrong button and make the thing go nuts again. Now, there we go. All right. Yeah, mortgage rate. Yeah, it looks like they had that little bit of a dip in through there. This is just Housing Wire. This just kind of takes an average then too. But then, yeah, they immediately just jump right back up then. So where was it? Bank rate. We looked at this right before we went on then. So it looks like you can get, I don't know which lender or what the stipulation is, 5.53. This is as of today. You probably have to have 10,000 credit score, a 5-year loan, something stupid. But yeah, I mean, still the low sixes. But like you guys have both mentioned, I guess, is that just what the buyers are finally getting used to, that being the number? They're not expecting it to be, 4.2% again, or I don't know. So
I just know if I were waiting to buy a house, I would just be over it. I'd just be trying to find something
That's
in my
what
budget.
I'm saying. Like, you can only wait for so long. If your situation has to change, then it has to change. Like,
yeah, that's it. You're just outgrowing your house, or like you just mentioned with him, like having a kid or whatever. I mean, if you're getting to the point where
One of my buyers is on their second kid, and they're like,
yes, you could be
"We
on
just need
kid
to
two
find
at this
something."
point, for busting at the seams. So, all right, I'll roll. Are you done with that, Shoop?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just roll right into that then. So, same thing. Inman had an article. Experts agree. Let's talk about who the experts are. That upcoming 2026 market, which is now. It's now. But going throughout the year. So existing home sales. So the experts they have are National Association of Realtors, Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow, Compass. They, for some reason, left us off of there. I don't know why, but I mean, they could have put our polling numbers in there, but they didn't. So, but yeah, NAR was like off the charts as far as for existing home sales. So they're thinking it's going to be 14% more homes for sale versus everyone else is at 3, 1.7, 4.3, and 4. So
under 5.
Yeah, so under 5, but somehow National Association of Realtors, I don't know if they're just looking to boost their, numbers, keep us agents on the hook. Like, guys, don't worry, there's brighter days ahead here. So a lot more homes coming up for sale. Another chart with, again, mortgage forecast. None of them. This is, again, going 2026. Zillow was the lowest at 6. Compass at 6.4 was their kind of, which again, I don't know how a real estate company can kind of, Compass is a much larger office than us, obviously they're worldwide, but, RE/MAX haven't seen any numbers come out, or I don't think they really make predictions on mortgage rates then. So I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. And then getting into home price growth. Again, National Association of Realtors are thinking it's going to be a 4% jump, Redfin 1%, Realtor.com 2.2,
Yeah, I've seen that a
Zillow
lot.
1.2, and then Compass 0.1. So
That's dramatic.
I've seen the 2%, the 2.2% a lot, down from like 4. So originally I think the expectation was 4, but I've seen a lot of 2 and 2.5 being the most common, but that 2.2 number sticks out to me.
yeah, that seems to be, again, I don't know.
Not that I'm agreeing with Realtor, that's just the number that.
So I guess I would just think like National Association of Realtors, NAR, would, I think, they got that Lawrence unit. I think you both had mentioned then too. I mean, a huge economist. They have a whole panel of people that look at this stuff. I would think they would have, a clear crystal ball as anybody's going to have, but it just seems so markedly different. Compass is just extraordinarily bearish. Their interest rates prediction was terrible. Their number of home price growth, I think pricing was
Nowhere
bad
to go
for
but
them
up.
then too. Yeah, I guess the number of homes on the market.
Lower
were-
your expectations, you can't be disappointed.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, so overall, most economists predict the buyers will gain some relative affordability given their wages and are expected to outpace home price growth. So, I suppose wages coming up versus home pricing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
We need it.
yeah, apparently, yeah. So paired with lower, because nothing's gotten cheaper. I mean, we just did a click list at the store and it was outrageous. You get nothing for what you're buying then. So paired with lower mortgage rates. Again, if we're thinking the low estimate was 6% and we're at 6.3 today, that's not, if I'm a buyer, to 6.3 to 6.
Yeah, the
it's
regular
not-
consumer is not like, oh my gosh, we have to, the
We have
Carvana
to lock
commercials,
in.
hold.
Yeah.
So
Right
it's like the lowest.
So I just don't know that that's going to, especially after that exhaustion, you've been waiting for
Right.
a year and a half, and then 6.3 to 6 going to make any kind of difference. I don't know.
Especially if it's like your dream house or close to it. I
Right.
don't think it's changing anything.
It may be the difference of the vacation or the coffee.
Right.
that says,
Sure.
oh, we really want this.
And
And I know obviously the Fed doesn't have a direct correlation with the interest rates, but I think there is a lot of unknown with the Fed chair getting changed out this year, and I think they're switching out a lot of the board members and directors, so I think that does cause a lot of economic uncertainty, which obviously would affect mortgage rates too. So
because that's in April or May, I think.
March.
March
believe.
that that's switching over then.
Or
So
maybe it is April. It's March or April because I know
coming up here,
I know they were obviously that. Without knowing who's doing what or who's going to go there, it's definitely a hard thing to determine.
Whoever Trump throws in there.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll cut everyone. I listen to they're
read
cutting
that
rates.
they were thinking for the next 3 rates that while Powell was still in there, they weren't going to be doing any drops, obviously, which could change. But that's the way they made it sound. So who knows?
So paired with lower mortgage rates, the economists said generally that the market fundamentals were coming closer to alignment. I think what they mean by that alignment is just like we were talking earlier, like just there's no huge drop in price or interest rates. It's just more of a balancing, normalizing of the market then. So Realtor.com expects home prices to rise. I think we already covered this, 2.2%. Zillow, Redfin 1.2. Compass again being the most bearish with that then. I think the biggest disagreement was I think they agreed the market will probably improve, but the disagreement was like how fast it's going to happen. So kind of like what you're talking, is it going, what does it say, January 5th? To me, the interest, the buyers don't seem a whole lot different than they were a month, 2 months, 6 months ago.
No, I think we'll see that spring market boom like we always do with just the people that have been waiting on the sidelines. Once those numbers, the market, the down payment, and the interest rate and the house they want all line up, that's when we're going to see the boom, which nobody has a crystal ball, but springtime and tax return seems to be a big one for
and you got welcome home funds.
Typical buyers.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Which,
all in March, April.
But do you guys, let me ask you guys this. Just most of your clients, are they timing, like are they waiting for that? Or is it like I think you mentioned this here, the house hits the market that they've been waiting for.
Or
the house comes up in a neighborhood they've been looking for. Or that seems to me being the trigger, or life changes, you know what I mean?
For the most part,
bigger family, smaller family. I can't take care of the injury, like you'd mentioned too, something. It's rarely ever like, okay, we'll buy, darling, we're going to get this as soon as rates hit 5.99. Honey, I promise you I'm going to get you a house. And then what? It hits 5.99 and then
they can't find anything
there's
because
nothing
there's
to
out
buy
there.
then. So I don't know that all these, quote unquote economists, professionals are like that.
Life.
I think it's just more, it's life happening more so than rates or things like that. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not a smart move. One of the sellers I'm dealing with right now is literally trying to talk them out of doing something. Like, you guys are in a great place, you got a great rate,
Yeah.
you got whatever, but it was time for them to change.
Yeah,
you
we've
know?
got a seller that's like that right now, where if they sell their house, they're going to have a higher house payment than what they have now and less house, and they don't need to move. And so we're
Yep.
like, again, talking yourself out of a job more than
Yeah,
you're
that's
talking yourself.
I
But
hate
if we're
doing
doing
that.
what we're recommending that they do, it's like, hey, if you can rent it, if you can sit on it, like, or
Right.
make improvements to it, we highly suggest you doing that, because we can slap a for sale sign. That doesn't mean that that's going to be the best move for you.
Yep.
But
But
yeah,
life was happening. Yeah, it wasn't some magical, like, okay, rates hit this, or they got their home paid down to a certain amount of equity.
Yeah.
It was just life was happening, life was changing. So I still think that's the huge driving factor.
well,
to
and
most
around here
people.
with that whole tax return time, like the whole tax return, that's hyper focused to like our area and a certain budget, because that's
Yeah.
not going to be relevant to most markets.
Right.
We just have, houses under 200,000 where you've got a lot of first time home buyers
Sure.
or buyer that are budget friendly house buying, that are looking for that down payment that they
Yep.
get from taxes or from,
Yeah, you get a little
bonuses
bump there
and
would help with
equity.
something like that. So yeah, I think with that being said, the timing, someone might slow their timing down, or if a house does come up, like maybe it's okay, like it's not
Yeah.
the perfect house, like rates still suck, or we still got a good interest rate on our home. But if life is happening, I think that overrides any kind of news.
It
that
does,
they're
yeah. Because
in
who
the
wants to
market.
move in February? We've got some people that are closing. You've got some closings coming up. They're literally going to be moving in the dead of February.
Yeah, who wants to
like,
move
in
in-
Ohio?
Yeah,
Like
but-
nobody wants to do that. But there is going to be a lot of people that wait for those welcome home, or wait for the spring market so that they can time it where they are moving in April, May, June, July.
Yep.
So
good luck to I don't know about everybody's spouse, but good luck telling my wife, like, if there's the house of her
The
dreams
house of her
pops on the
dreams.
market, I'm like, honey, I know it's everything you've been looking for. It's everything you wanted in a house. Our family would be perfect there. But rates, look, they're 6.3.
we're going to wait till 5.99.
It's got to hit
and the sun's got to be
5.99.
shining.
We'll hope that house is still there in 9 months when rates finally hit that. Yeah, good luck with that conversation. So
Right.
you'll be sleeping on the couch real fast. So there was some other stats with that, but I don't know what you guys' thoughts. I mean, just
I think we're going to pick up again. I
reading
think
that
there's
stuff,
just so
like-
many people, stats alike. I think there's so many people that have just been waiting on the sidelines, that it's been 5 years, 6 years now.
Yeah.
Since 2020. I think people are just tired of waiting. And
Yep.
we're going to see people of all demographics and ages moving.
Yeah.
Just because it's time.
And I think it's a domino effect too.
100%.
When it starts to go, I feel like it just follows, and it makes sense. I mean, when it starts to tick up, and then there's more homes for sale, there's more options, and then someone else that wasn't really thinking they were going to move this year,
find the
suddenly
house
I
of their
really like
dreams.
that
Yeah, it starts
house.
with dominoes.
Oh, we could move, like whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, we bought our house in when the rates were terrible, or we overpaid, or yada yada yada, this that the other, and then they're like, oh, maybe us too, like, and then it just kind of turns into a whole
And they're
Yeah.
starting to see a little equity finally, because initially they didn't have that. So even if it trends at 2.2%, but they've had it for 5 years, eventually they're going to start to get underneath.
Right.
They're going to have a little bit of equity, or enough equity to make it worth their move if they find their next
Right.
dream
So
home.
that's a great point then too. If somebody has a good, they sell their home and they got a good chunk of equity they can
Yeah.
then dump into the house. It doesn't matter if rates are 6.3.
Right.
If they're only taking the one we just sold is a $400,000 house, but they only took an $80,000 loan on it.
Yeah.
Because they took what they took from the one house and into the next one. So 80, a
80
$400,000,
grand.
$400,000 mortgage versus an $80,000 mortgage at 6%
quite
makes a
different.
huge
Yeah.
difference. So. But you kind of hit on this, Sierra. I feel bad for the buyers, or maybe you, Carrie. Like, they've been waiting. So they went through that whole COVID madness. You couldn't get a home bought. So it was 20 offers on every home. You had to get an over ask price. You needed cash. You couldn't do any inspections. So all those people got shut out for years doing that. And it seems like it almost immediately just flipped. That's I don't know if it actually happened that way, but that's my memory. It went from
That's
like
exactly.
insanity to like
Turn on the
rates were
faucet.
just through the roof and nobody wanted to do anything. You're stuck,
Yeah.
you're kind of stuck with the low rates. You didn't want to buy with a new higher rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, there literally could be people for 5 years now that have been sitting there wanting to buy a home and just for whatever reason couldn't, or now we're just waiting.
And I've had
So-
some of those buyers reaching out recently, and it's like, oh, I talked to you. Do you remember? And
Yeah.
then, we go back and revisit what we talked about before, and it's like,
Yeah.
God, it's been a while.
Yeah.
All right, so I need your predictions here. 2026, is it going to be, because if you look at our office numbers, we actually did more in 25 than we did in 24, which was more in 23, believe it or not. So every year we've actually sold more properties. So
it just doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it,
but I think we had good years. I think we've had some really good years. I guess we are waiting for that balanced market where we can be getting people out of houses and into houses as quick as they can because they're finding what they're wanting.
Right.
And also the people that are on sidelines are going to be buying. So it is that domino effect, and we need it to all line up perfectly.
Yeah, I feel like if rates do get, again, kind of countering what I was just saying earlier, but if rates do get 5%, I think that will
Let's go.
Not 5 even, but just hit in the fives.
In the fives.
I think that'll get a lot more people motivated to where maybe
Yeah.
they wanted to do something. They weren't waiting for that magic number, but it just seems a lot more appealing at that point. They're willing to kind of bite that bullet and roll. But
And
Well, that's exactly what
it
happened
gets some
with-
economic certainty too.
Yeah, with Wyatt, he was not super sure about moving yet. He didn't have to move or buy a house.
Right.
And then he got a 599 in October of 24. And
Wow.
he was like,
Yeah.
okay, yep, let's do
done,
it.
let's do
Yep,
it.
we're good.
that wasn't his agent pressuring to buy a house, was it? No. No.
No pressure.
Buy me a house.
Yeah, but you're so yeah, I guess my overall opinion, again, no crystal ball. I think 2026 will be busier, probably.
Yeah.
I think rates come down. I think more stuff, to exactly your guys' points. If those dominoes start, I think it'll only compound. I just hope. Again, I loved it when stuff was flying off the shelf and
I
there's a
feel
million
like that's
offers,
gonna
but
happen.
that was
Like,
just.
I
I know. I
don't
don't
want
I
it
have
to.
a
Like,
weird
I know.
feeling,
I don't.
too.
I
It's
like have this
miserable for
gut
everybody.
feeling. I know, and I have this gut feeling that 2026 is going to be like that, and I've got a kid who's graduating and going to college, and I just want to slow this year down and make it
Yeah.
like, so it is a balanced market. So we have a house on the market, and then we sell one, and then we have a house on the market, and we sell one. It's like, a
Yep.
couple a month, keep it
Yeah.
nice and steady. But I don't feel like it's going to be like that. I
I
feel
will
like
say
it's
that.
they're going to pull the cover off, and it's going to be like, blah.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like 2025 felt smoother in that regard.
Yeah.
It's like there were times where there was a lot going on at once,
Sure.
but
Yep.
for I think a good part of the year, it was very like
Steady.
one in, one out,
Yeah.
one in, one out, which was really nice
Right.
to handle. And like obviously there's overlap or whatever, but it wasn't like you're running around like a crazy person.
Yeah, and if you don't
losing
get
your
into the
mind.
house within an hour, it's gone or anything
Yeah.
like that.
You haven't eaten lunch in 4 days.
That's great.
That is, it's tough. So yeah, to your thought, Carrie, I fear you might be right, where it might just go to craziness again. Then I know, like the Fed, they've been talking about trying to the soft landing, nail the soft landing for rates and unemployment versus interest rates, whatever they try to balance there. But yeah, I hope the same thing happens
New
with real
baby,
estate.
swim season,
Yeah.
senior.
Yeah,
you got a
just-
lot going on. Like it's
Yeah,
I feel like, okay, and maybe this is just me putting it out there so that hopefully it happens.
just kind of
But just manifesting. I feel like it's going to be like a very busy, crazy, but like a step down from like the horrors of what it was a couple
Yeah.
years ago. Like,
Right.
And even whether the numbers add up to that, but we're more prepared for
Yeah.
how that was.
Oh,
And
that's
Oh,
supposed
time
to be
to
on
be
Do
done.
Not Disturb.
But like we kind of know how to handle the blow a little bit.
Sure.
And so even though it'll be so busy, we kind of know how to go through the muck together.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just going to be awful and we're just going to have to
Right.
figure it out. But
We
awful
always
in a
do.
great way.
I mean, we're a team.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
each
we'll
other's
figure it
back
out.
and we figure it out. So
we'll figure it out. All right. Well, that is, I don't know, I guess our prediction 2026. So this will be, an exciting year. Yeah, a lot going on. You having another baby? You guys started on
we'll
planning
see.
the next one yet? So
it's been like
it's
2
only
days.
beginning of January, so you got plenty of time to figure it out. So, all right. Well, that is episode 67. We'll try to get back on track. I'm still trying to talk everybody into just doing these live so we can take your questions and doing all that fun stuff, but we'll work on that. So, but yeah, we'll get
Put
this.
that on your 26 dream board. And
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We do need to work on our dream boards
I
here. We need to
know.
do an update
Oh,
on those
yeah.
because I know we've cleared some stuff out then. You have a baby. You didn't have baby on.
Oh,
there.
that wasn't
think
on
that was
there.
on there.
So we'll just pretend it was on there. So, all right, we'll leave it there. Check on back, episode 68. We will see you then. Like, share, do all the things. Talk to you then. Bye.